Ugh, of course. Ugh, what caveman you take me for?
You know, Dan, people who save money by switching to Mike Scott Plumbing sure are happy.
Well, Brittany, how happy are they?
Happier than a caveman with indoor plumbing.
Yep. Get happy. Get Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. 237-2888.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 22 minutes before 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. It's time for News Bites. This is the segment of the morning show that we put together each weekday morning so that we can deliver to you the news from around the world, the nation, and the state, and deliver it bite-sized. We cut to the chase, get to the point, and summarize the news. We also give you the news resource that we've used here at The Source, WOCA, so that you can then look up the story later on if you want to read it in its entirety. And we do this each weekday morning, and let's just jump right in. The first one is out of Illinois. I'm sure you've heard this one, but here's the latest I have from the tornadoes that touched down in Illinois. Search and recovery operations are underway after severe storms and tornadoes wreaked havoc on the Midwest, killing at least 6 people and injuring dozens more with powerful winds that flattened homes and decimated much of the town of Washington, Illinois. A 6th death was confirmed late yesterday evening after 81 reports of tornadoes ripped through at least 5 states in the Midwest earlier in the day. One of the tornadoes in New Minden, Illinois, was estimated to have winds up to 200 miles per hour. Jonathan Monken, the director of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, said a 3rd person was confirmed dead Sunday night in Massac County. An elderly couple was killed in Nashville, Illinois, and another person was killed in Washington. At least 37 people were injured in the storms, although officials say they expect that number to rise significantly. The town of Washington, a rural community of about 16,000 people, appeared to have been one of the hardest hit. Rows of homes were completely flattened, trees were uprooted, and cars turned upside down. And I got that, by the way, from ABC News.
Our prayers are with them. A judge has denied bond for Michael Boyce, the man charged with shooting and killing his 23-year-old wife, Alexis Boyce, and one of his unborn babies. This is a story from the Florida News Network out of Orange County. Alexis Boyce was 8 months pregnant with twin boys when she was shot in the head by 33-year-old Michael Boyce, and this is according to Orange County Sheriff's deputies. Alexis was rushed to the hospital where she and one of her sons were pronounced dead. The surviving infant remains in critical condition in the neonatal intensive care unit at Winnie Palmer Hospital for Women and Babies. Deputies say they found Alexis in their Orange County, Florida apartment sitting in a chair with her hands in her lap and a bullet in her head. Michael Boyce, a Navy veteran, told deputies that depression drove his wife to commit suicide, but his story didn't add up. After giving contradictory statements about what hand the gun was in and being confronted with evidence at the scene, deputies say Boyce told detectives he shot his wife in the head.
And this story from the Associated Press. Authorities are trying to determine exactly what sort of accident occurred in a mine in southwestern Colorado that left 2 miners dead of carbon monoxide poisoning and injured 20 others. The Ouray County Sheriff's Office was called to the Revenue Virginis mine at 7:20 a.m. yesterday. Ouray County spokeswoman Marty Whitmore said the miners were underground and were confirmed dead yesterday afternoon. Authorities said at a late night news conference that the 2 men died from carbon monoxide poisoning, according to the Denver Post, but the source of the gas was under investigation. Both the Montrose Daily Press and the Post reported that investigators are looking at whether a blast on Saturday played a role.
Investors got less bullish on gold as hedge funds doubled their short holdings just before prices erased a weekly loss, and Janet Yellen pledged to press on with economic stimulus if confirmed as Federal Reserve Chairman. The net long position in gold slumped 37% to 55,456 futures, and options in the week ended November the 12th. U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission has provided this data. This is the biggest drop since February. Short bets climbed to 54,143, the highest since mid-August, from 26,490 a week earlier. Net bullish wagers across 18 U.S. traded commodities dropped 12% to 576,224 contracts as investors became more bearish on wheat and cut their silver holdings by the most in 5 months. This is reported by Bloomberg.
And this story is from Fox News. The District of Columbia's insurance commissioner says he was fired after questioning President Obama's plan to fix Obamacare and saying the city might not follow his suggestions. Commissioner William White told the Washington Post on Saturday that he was called into Mayor Vincent Gray's office the prior day and told the Democratic mayor wants to go in a different direction. The president said Thursday that the millions of insurance plans scheduled to be canceled next year to comply with Obamacare regulations could be extended for a year after he told Americans prior to the law's passage that they could keep their existing plans.
As soon as Navy pilot Matthew Stafford puts his helicopter down in the villages of Borangan, he is rushed by dozens of local men who form a line to unload the supplies and water he has flown in from the mothership, the aircraft carrier USS George Washington. Children swarm him as he breaks out a box of sweets. On the Philippine islands of Leyte and Samar, which were shattered by Typhoon Haiyan, there is no doubt about it. The U.S. military has been a godsend. It is awesome to see this, says one grateful villager. They are saving us. But while U.S. military support can be critical when disasters such as Haiyan strike, staging massive humanitarian relief missions for allies in need isn't just about being a good neighbor. This is reported by the Washington Times.
And this one from the Associated Press. Authorities in North Carolina say it appears the 11-year-old boy found handcuffed to a porch with a dead chicken around his neck was routinely handcuffed in the home. Union County Sheriff's Captain Cody Luke also told the Charlotte Observer newspaper on yesterday, that human waste was found on the home's floor. Wanda Sue Larson and Dorian Lee Harper were arrested Friday after a deputy found the boy. Larson is the supervisor with Union County Department of Social Services. The couple adopted 4 children and was fostering a 5th child. The couple is charged with intentional child abuse, inflicting injury, false imprisonment, and cruelty to animals. They are to be in court today. It wasn't clear if they have a lawyer. The children have been removed from the home.
A bomb attack on a Syrian government building near Damascus has killed 31 people, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. 4 generals were among the dead. The explosives are thought to have been placed in the basement, meaning opposition fighters were able to breach security to get into the building. There has been no confirmation of the attack by state media or by government officials, but Damascus has experienced increasing violence recently as clashes between government forces and rebels in the suburbs intensify. 3 people were killed this past Thursday by bombs and mortar fire near the historic old city of Damascus, reported by the BBC.
And this story from the Las Vegas Sun. When Pope Francis was elected in March, Bridget Kurt received a small prayer card with his picture at her church and put it up on her refrigerator at home next to pictures of her friends and her favorite saints. She is a regular attender of Mass, a longtime stalwart in her church's anti-abortion movement, and a believer that all the church's doctrines are true and beautiful and should be obeyed. She loved the past 2 popes and keeps a scrapbook with memorabilia from her road trip to Denver in 1993 to see Pope John Paul II at World Youth Day, but Kurt recently took the Pope Francis prayer card down and threw it away. The reason: she feels that she's been left out of the Pope's embrace.
Household bleach could treat skin damaged by sunbathing or or radiotherapy, and even reverse the signs of aging. Tests with diluted bleach found skin began to look younger and went from being old and fragile to thicker with increased cell proliferation. The common cleaner could even help reduce the painful side effects of radiation therapy, improving the treatments of cancer patients, dermatologists believe after research on mice. It works by blocking a self-destructing process that causes inflammation in skin cells, the team of American scientists have discovered. This is reported by The Telegraph.
And this from the Associated Press. Miami Dolphins players have been advised that they will meet this week with the NFL special investigator looking into the harassment case involving tackle Jonathan Martin and guard Richie Incognito. Players expect to be interviewed beginning today, and the visit by attorney Ted Wells might last several days. That means further distractions for a team trying to keep its season from derailing. The Dolphins, 5-5, beat San Diego 20-16 yesterday to remain in the race for an AFC wildcard berth and cap an eventful week. There's nothing better than a win, tackle Tyson Klebo said. The visit by Wells will come as the Dolphins prepare to play host to Carolina next Sunday.
A female Democratic senator has secured public support from nearly half the Senate, but not enough votes for her proposal to give victims of rape and sexual assault in the military an independent route outside the chain of command for prosecuting attackers. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's solution for a problem the military calls an epidemic appears to have stalled in the face of united opposition from the Pentagon's top echelon and its allies in Congress, including 2 female senators who are former prosecutors. Nevertheless, when asked yesterday on ABC's This Week whether she believes she can amass the 60 votes needed to push her solution forward, Gillibrand sounded optimistic. "I think we'll get them," she said, according to CBS News.
And this next story is from the Associated Press. 2 separate roadside bombs killed 9 children in Afghanistan this morning, while 6 bodies found yesterday in a restive southern province were identified as policemen and not contractors, as was initially reported. A roadside bomb killed 7 children from the same family in eastern Afghanistan's Paktika province, according to the governor's spokesman Mukhlis Afghan. Another 3 children in the family were wounded. The children were playing on a road near their home when the bomb exploded. In a separate incident in southern Zabul province, 2 children were killed when their family's vehicle hit a roadside bomb. Zabul's deputy governor Mohammed John Rasulyar said the family was traveling to the provincial city of Kalat for shopping. The father was wounded along with a 3rd child, according to the report.
This is from Brevard County. Titusville Towers, an assisted living facility located in Brevard County, is under quarantine after a suspected outbreak of the norovirus. This is according to WESH TV2. The news station is reporting that the Brevard County Health Department says approximately 10 out of the 90 residents in the senior citizen community are affected by the illness. Norovirus symptoms include vomiting and diarrhea. The disease is very contagious but rarely fatal and typically lasts around 48 hours.
And this one from ABC News. During an interview with ABC's Jonathan Karl for This Week, Wisconsin Republican Governor Scott Walker, while offering praise for his Republican colleagues, dismissed Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Rand Paul, Senator Marco Rubio, and Representative Paul Ryan as the ideal 2016 Republican presidential nominee. "I think it's got to be an outsider," he said. "I think both the presidential and the vice presidential nominee should either be a former or current governor, people who have done successful things in their states, who have taken on big reforms, who are ready to move America forward." Walker responded when asked by Karl to describe the ideal Republican presidential candidate in 2016.
A Minnesota-based television host and big game hunter has drawn outrage after she posted a photo of herself posing with a lion she had just shot and killed in South Africa. Melissa Bachman posted a photo to her Facebook account of herself smiling next to the carcass of the lion with her rifle in one hand. The photo quickly went viral, drawing outrage from animal lovers, and inspired Cape Town resident Elan Berman to start a Change.org petition asking the South African government to ban Bachman from the country for her actions. Nearly 15,000 people have signed the petition as of Saturday morning. Bachman has not publicly publicly responded to her critics, and immediate calls to reach her were unsuccessful. Bachman hosts a hunting show called Winchester Deadly Passion that follows her on different hunting trips across America, reported by ABC News.
If you see that photo, it's just, it is troubling, for me anyway. From the Associated Press, an auction will offer a glimpse into the inner world of former Mayor Edward Koch when a trove of his furniture and art collection goes on sale. Doyle, New York, is auctioning the items in 2 sessions. Today, furniture, decorative arts, and paintings from his Greenwich Village home will go on the block. On November 25th, Koch's correspondence with heads of state, his books, and other ephemera are scheduled to be sold. The 3-term former mayor of New York died in February at the age of 88. Among the highlights today are Koch's favorite burgundy leather upholstered club chair and ottoman, which are estimated to fetch between $200 and $300. There also is a dining room set designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. It includes a set of 6 fruitwood barrel chairs estimated to bring $2,500 to $3,500 and a matching fruitwood table expected to sell for $1,500 to $2,500.
Iran has the right to enrich uranium, but does not insist others recognize that right. Iran's chief nuclear negotiator said yesterday in what could be a way around one of the main sticking points between Tehran and world powers in talks this week. Iran and the 6 world powers are moving closer to an initial agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program. This is according to a senior U.S. official and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. He has raised hopes of a peaceful end to the 10-year dispute. Talks in Geneva between Iran and the so-called P5+1, Britain, China, France, Germany, Russia, and the United States on November 7th and November 8th appeared close to clinching a deal, but ended without agreement, according to the Jerusalem Post.
And this next story is from ABC News. PlayStation 4 sales reached the 1 million mark within the console's first 24 hours at retail. Sony announced this morning the PS4 launched in North America on November 15th, so that figure is restricted to the US and Canada. The console goes to Europe on November 29th and Japan on February 22nd. SCEA President and CEO Jack Tretton is predicting 3 million sales by the end of the year, and with the European launch to come, that's looking increasingly realistic. Sony targets that figure to rise to 5 million by the close of the company's fiscal year in March of 2014, by which point the console will have reached Japan.
Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said yesterday that he welcomed the conclusion of the runoff of the presidential election in the Maldives and urged everyone in the country to work together to advance the democratic process. This is a quote. "Once again, the people of the Maldives have turned out to vote in impressive numbers, showing their determination to choose their next president despite the many obstacles and delays." This is from UN News.
And this one is from MSNBC. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said Democrats are not losing confidence in President Barack Obama's ability to make the Affordable Care Act work and don't fear Obamacare's effect on their chances in next year's elections. Appearing yesterday on NBC's Meet the Press, Pelosi said, quote, "I don't think you can tell what will happen next year," unquote, when voters cast ballots in the midterm elections, but went on to say, quote, "I will tell you this, Democrats stand tall in support of the Affordable Care Act," unquote. She said implementation of the health care overhaul is an issue that has to be dealt with, but it doesn't mean, oh, this is a political issue, so we're going to run away from it, unquote. Again, that's from MSNBC.
This is being reported by UPI. The number of lethal drone missile strikes has dropped dramatically since President Barack Obama vowed to change his approach. The Long War Journal, which tracks drone attacks, has counted 22 so far this year in Yemen, down from 42 last year, and 25 attacks in Pakistan, down from 46. One attack has been reported in Somalia. Administration officials have said that strikes have killed few civilians, but refused to specify how many. Obama has also pledged to make drone information more available, but the tally of how many civilians and militants are killed by drones is still not public.
This story is from the Reuters news agency. Police are hunting for a lone gunman this morning on the loose in central Paris, France. The gunman opened fire at the offices of a left-wing newspaper and a major bank before hijacking a car to take him to the Champs-Élysées Avenue. The shaven-haired assailant, who police say was filmed by video surveillance cameras, fired shots at the office of Liberation Daily, seriously injuring a photographer's assistant before fleeing. About 90 minutes later, he opened fire outside the suburban headquarters of Societe Generale in the La Défense business district, about 6 miles west of the center, wounding no one. Police and a spokeswoman for the bank said there were no immediate indications of his motives. Shortly afterwards, the same man hijacked a car nearby and forced the driver to drop him on the Champs-Élysées Avenue in central Paris, according to the driver, who was let go.
New media websites from BuzzFeed to Business Insider are on a roll lately, showered with dollars from venture capitalists, betting that they will crack an advertising market that has stymied traditional media companies. With their mix of top 10 lists, slideshows that highlight the indignities of air travel, eye-catching headlines, and thoughtful news, such media startups think their fresh approach to working with brands will coax more money from advertisers. They build large audiences by using social media like Facebook and Twitter to push content to young readers that marketers cover. This is according to Reuters. This is a report from Reuters.
And the next story is from Time Magazine. The first congressional hearing on how to regulate virtual currencies will take place this afternoon before the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, called Beyond Silk Road: Potential Risks, Threats, and Promises of Virtual Currencies. The hearing comes 6 weeks after federal authorities took down the Silk Road, known as the Amazon for drugs, and arrested its alleged founder, 29-year-old Ross Ulbricht. It also comes less than a month after Time Magazine's cover story, The Secret Web, which explored these issues. Though the session promises to look at all virtual currencies, it will primarily focus on Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency used by the Silk Web, according to advanced testimony given to Time Magazine. Pages and pages of explanations and definitions mark the testimony. What are Bitcoins? How are they made? How do they differ from centralized virtual currencies? It is clear Washington has ways to go in understanding, let alone regulating cryptocurrencies. The hearing is a first in what will likely be a long process toward any kind of lawmaking. Wow.
Israeli PM calls for sanctions and says he will not allow ayatollahs with nuclear weapons to threaten the Jewish people. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that he called the proposed nuclear agreement with Iran an exceedingly bad deal, as he intensified his campaign to convince world powers to toughen terms ahead of fresh negotiations this week. This is a quote from Netanyahu: "To give the most dangerous regime of the 21st century the world's most dangerous weapons is a big, big mistake."
And that's all the time we have for News Bites this morning. This is the opportunity you have each morning to catch up on the news. We try to squeeze as many stories in as we possibly can. We try to get the freshest news, the biggest news, and shrink it down to a bite size, a summarized form, so we can cut to the chase and you can catch up on the news without spending all day in front of the TV. How many stories did we get this morning?
26.
26, not bad.
Yeah.
26 stories in 22 minutes. All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Roofs were ripped off, trees and power lines toppled, and terrified survivors scrambled for cover when dozens of tornadoes slammed several states in the Midwest. The hardest hit was Illinois, where at least 6 people were killed. Dozens more were hurt. Investigators are sifting through the smoldering wreckage of a Russian jetliner that crashed on its second attempt to land, killing all 50 aboard. Pilot error and equipment failure are among the suspects. New Mexico police are investigating the actions of a fellow officer who opened fire on a minivan with a mom and 5 children in it. Dashcam video shows it began as a traffic stop, but the mother tried to drive away. After a high-speed chase, the driver ultimately surrendered. Medical experts are doing an abrupt about-face. Just days after issuing new and greatly expanded statin drug recommendations, they now say the suggestion to nearly double the number of people taking cholesterol medication was based on a flawed online calculator. Thor: The Dark World reigned at the box office for a second straight week. Best Man Holiday was second. Las Vegas was third. This is ABC News.
Hey, it's me, Mike Rowe, here with Fiona Doran, a service advisor to Ford dealership. I've got about 60 seconds today to convince you that Ford is actually in the tire business. I'll be asking the questions. Fiona, she'll be answering them. How are you, Fiona?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Are you ready?
I am.
If I need new tires for my Ford, where should I go?
Your Ford dealership.
And who carries 11 major brands?
Your Ford dealership.
And who's having a big tire event?
Your Ford dealership.
You're basically going to say your Ford dealership no matter what I say, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Nice shoes. Where'd you get those?
Your Ford dealership.
Come see the vehicle experts and get a $70 mail-in rebate when you buy 4 select tires. Plus another $70 when you use the Ford Service credit card. That's up to $140.
What's the capital of Wisconsin?
Your Ford dealership.
That's technically not true.
Subject to credit approval. Rebate by check. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined, or Ford Service credit card rebate or offer. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 12/31/13.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. It'll be warm and humid today with times of clouds and sun. There may be a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 81 to 85. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with some showers, low 64 to 68. Tomorrow will be cooler and turning less humid with clouds and a shower giving way to some sun, the high 74 to 78. For Wednesday, intervals of clouds and sun, maybe a shower, high 72 to 76. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, Carl Champley here. Join me every Saturday afternoon for DIY Live, your complete guide to getting that DIY project started and finished the right way.
And when you need the right product for that do-it-yourself project, visit the DIY Home Center outlet right here in Ocala, just 2 miles east of I-75 on Northwest 10th Street. From carpet to doors to real wood cabinets, visit the DIY Home Center outlet today and tune in to DIY Live.
That's DIY Live Saturdays right here on WOCA, The Source.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.